Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Mr. English Lab, the place where your English grows, one story at a time. Today, we're going to talk about something that connects your body, your mind, and your daily life. I didn't realize how tired I was until I couldn't feel joy anymore. It was a Monday morning. The alarm went off at 6:30. My phone screen was glowing, showing 100 notifications, emails, messages, reminders. I turned it off and stared at the ceiling. My mind was awake, but my heart was heavy. Have you ever felt that way? You wake up and you're already tired. You haven't even started your day, but it already feels like too much. That was me. Every morning, I rushed through life like I was in a race I never signed up for. I worked, studied, scrolled, worried, and repeated over and over. I thought that's what a successful person should do. You work hard. You stay busy. You never stop. But one morning, something strange happened. I made my morning coffee, but I couldn't smell it. I looked at the cup and realized I didn't even want it. The thing that used to bring me comfort now meant nothing. My brain whispered, "Keep going." But my body whispered, "Please stop." That's when I noticed it. I had forgotten how to rest. We all think rest is something we can do later. After this project, after this exam, after this week. But somehow later never comes. And when it finally does, our energy is gone, our mood is low, and we feel like strangers to ourselves. When I finally took a moment to breathe, I realized rest isn't the opposite of work. It's part of it. Without rest, even small things start to feel impossible. We forget to smile, to feel, to notice life around us. So today, in this story, we'll talk about why rest is important, not just for your body, but for your mind, your English learning, and your happiness. Because when you rest right, you think clearer, speak better, and understand the world with more emotion. Let's begin. A few years ago, I met a woman named Clara. She worked as a nurse, 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week. Always moving, always helping others. She smiled, but her eyes looked tired, the kind of tired that sleep alone cannot fix. One day, I asked her, "Clara, how do you do it? You're always working. Don't you get exhausted?" She laughed softly and said, "Of course I do. But resting feels like wasting time." I remember those words. Resting feels like wasting time. So many of us think the same way. We feel guilty when we stop. We feel lazy when we relax. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if resting is not wasting time, it's recharging time? Imagine your phone battery. You wouldn't keep using it when it's at 1%. You'd plug it in, right? You'd let it rest so it can work again. But when it comes to ourselves, we ignore the red battery sign. We push and push until something breaks, our focus, our mood, our motivation. That's what happened to Clara. One day, she fainted at work. Her body couldn't take it anymore. When she woke up, the doctor told her something simple but powerful. You're not sick. You're just exhausted. And that hit her. Exhaustion can feel like illness, but it's really a message. Your body isn't your enemy. It's your friend whispering, "Please, let me rest." After that, Clara changed her life. She started walking in the park after work. She cooked for herself again. She even took one weekend off just to do nothing, no phone, no work, no guilt. And for the first time in years, she said, "I feel like myself again." It made me think, maybe peace doesn't come from finishing everything. Maybe peace comes from knowing when to stop. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly rested? Not just slept. Not just watched videos. But really rested? Rest isn't always sleep. Rest can be silence. Rest can be saying no to things that drain you. Rest can be a walk in the evening, a cup of tea, a slow breath between two thoughts. We often forget that our minds need rest as much as our bodies do, especially when learning something new like English. When you rest well, your brain organizes what you've learned. It builds connections, remembers patterns, and helps you speak more clearly. So if you've been studying hard, listening to lessons, repeating words, and you feel stuck, maybe you don't need more work. Maybe you need more rest. Because rest doesn't stop progress. It strengthens it. And here's something beautiful I've learned. When you rest, the world becomes softer. You notice the sound of rain, the smell of coffee, the warmth of sunlight. You start feeling alive again, not just surviving. That's the secret power of rest. It reconnects you with life. You may think resting is simple. You lie down, close your eyes, and do nothing. But inside you, something incredible happens. Your body begins to repair itself. Your mind starts cleaning the noise. And your emotions begin to heal quietly, like the sea calming after a storm. When we rest, our body doesn't stop working, it just works differently. During the day, our brain focuses on survival, move, work, solve, speak, decide. But when we rest, our brain shifts its job. It starts to organize, to store, to build. It's like a library after hours, quiet, peaceful, but busy on the inside. The librarian walks slowly between the shelves, putting every book back where it belongs. That's your brain, placing every memory, every thought, every English word you learned in its right place. So when you rest, you're not wasting time. You're making space. You see, the human brain is like a sponge. It can absorb information quickly, but it also needs time to dry, otherwise, it becomes too heavy, too full. If you keep adding more and more without rest, the sponge stops absorbing. That's why sometimes you study for hours, but remember nothing. It's not because you're bad at learning. It's because your brain is tired. Real learning doesn't happen only when you study. It happens when you rest. That's when your brain takes all the new things you heard and quietly says, okay, let me save this here. Let me connect this to what we already know. That's why sleep and quiet time are so powerful. When you sleep, your brain repeats the new information, like replaying a movie you saw earlier. If you studied English today, your brain will review those words tonight, without you even knowing. It's like a teacher inside you, working while you rest. So, rest isn't an enemy of hard work, it's the secret partner of progress. But rest is not only about sleep. Sometimes, your body needs physical rest, but sometimes, your mind needs emotional rest. Let me tell you a story about a man named David. He was an architect. Brilliant, creative, full of ideas. But after years of constant deadlines, he stopped drawing for fun. He only drew for clients. He stopped listening to music. He stopped walking by the river. Everything in his life became about work. One evening, he was sitting at his desk, looking at a half-finished design. His hand was on the paper, but it wasn't moving. His eyes were open, but they weren't seeing. He felt empty. So, for the first time in years, he did something unexpected. He turned off the light and went outside. He walked for an hour with no plan, no phone, no goal. Just silence. The city lights reflected on the water. He heard his own footsteps, the wind, a dog barking far away. And suddenly, he started to cry. Not from sadness, but from release. His body and mind had been waiting for that moment, a moment of stillness. That night, when he came back home, he drew something new. Something pure. Not for a client. For himself. The next morning, his colleague looked at his sketch and said, "That's your best work in years." And David smiled. Because for the first time, he understood, creativity doesn't come from stress. It comes from rest. Sometimes we think resting means stopping our progress, but it actually restores it. When your mind is calm, your ideas flow. When your heart is peaceful, your words sound clearer. And when your body feels safe, your English, your learning, your confidence, all grow naturally. That's why taking breaks while studying is not a sign of weakness. It's wisdom. Even great athletes rest between training. Even singers rest their voice. Because they know power grows in silence. When you rest, your breathing slows down. Your heart rate softens. Your muscles relax. And your brain waves move into a slower rhythm, like gentle waves touching the sand. In that state, your mind starts repairing emotional wounds too. Maybe you've been worried, frustrated, comparing yourself to others, saying things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm too slow." But when you give yourself rest, your mind whispers back, "It's okay. You're doing fine." Rest reconnects you with kindness. Now imagine this. You sit quietly for just 5 minutes. No phone. No noise. Just you and your breath. At first, it feels strange. Your thoughts jump around. What should I do next? Did I forget something? But slowly, they begin to settle. Like dust falling in a quiet room. After a few minutes, your breath deepens. Your shoulders drop. And you start to feel not tired, not lazy, but light. That's the moment your mind opens again. In that silence, your English becomes clearer, your thoughts become organized, and your focus returns. It's like your inner world got cleaned, and now everything inside shines again. That's what true rest does. Here's a small secret I learned from a monk once. He said, when you rest, you don't stop life. You feel life. And I understood what he meant. When you stop running, you start noticing. You notice the air, the colors, the people, your heartbeat. You come back to the present moment, and that's where life truly happens. So many people live in tomorrow. I'll be happy after this. I'll rest when I'm done. But rest teaches you to live in now. Now is where healing happens. Now is where you recharge. Now is where you can finally say, "I'm enough for today." So, next time you feel overwhelmed, remember this. Rest isn't for the weak. Rest is for the wise. You don't need to earn it. You deserve it. Because when you rest, your brain remembers, your body recovers, and your soul reconnects. That's the secret every learner, every dreamer, every human needs to know. You might not realize it, but rest is one of the most powerful tools for learning English. Yes, more powerful than studying all night, more powerful than repeating words until you're dizzy. Because when you rest, your brain finally gets the chance to remember what you worked so hard to learn. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you forget words right after learning them? You study, you repeat, and a few hours later, they're gone like sand slipping through your fingers. It's not because you're bad at English. It's because your brain didn't get time to save those words properly. Think of your brain like a computer. When you open too many programs, it starts to slow down. But when you rest, it finally shuts down the noise, saves your progress, and gets ready to start fresh. That's what rest does for language learning. When you sleep, your brain replays everything you studied, every sound, every phrase, every story. It decides what's important and what to keep. So if you listen to English today and then rested tomorrow, you'll understand it more easily. It's like magic, but it's science. Scientists call it memory consolidation. I like to call it quiet learning, because it happens when you're not even trying. Let me tell you about Maria. She was one of my English students. Every night, she studied until midnight. She read, listened, wrote, but she always said, "Teacher, I understand everything when I study, but the next day I forget." So I told her, "Maria, tonight, stop early. Study for 30 minutes, then rest. Don't touch your phone. Don't worry about forgetting. Just rest." The next morning, she came to class smiling. "Teacher," she said, "I remembered the words without even looking at them again." She laughed because it felt too easy. But that's how rest works. It makes learning effortless. When you rest, your brain connects new English words to old memories. For example, if you learn the word river, your brain might connect it to a picture of a river you saw before or a memory of water flowing. This emotional connection makes the word stick. That's why you remember stories better than grammar rules, because stories live in your emotions, not just your mind. And here's another secret. Your pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence all depend on rest, too. When you're tired, your tongue feels heavy. Your words come out flat. You hesitate, you lose rhythm, you feel nervous. But when you're well rested, your speech becomes alive. Your tone has music. Your sentences flow. That's because rest brings energy, and energy brings emotion, and emotion is the heart of communication. You can't speak beautifully if you feel empty inside. Your voice needs feeling, and feeling comes from peace. So, if you've ever felt blocked while speaking, not because you don't know the words, but because your mind feels stuck, maybe what you need isn't more grammar. Maybe you just need a moment of stillness. Try this. Next time you study English, take a small break after 25 minutes. Close your eyes. Breathe in deeply. And say to yourself, I'm learning. I'm doing well. Then rest. Don't scroll. Don't talk. Just breathe. After a few minutes, open your book again. You'll notice the words look clearer. The sentences make more sense. That's because your brain just had time to refresh. It's like giving water to a thirsty plant. When you rest, your mind blooms. Now, let's talk about speaking confidence. Confidence doesn't come from speaking perfectly. It comes from feeling safe. When you rest, your nervous system calms down. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and your body sends a message to your brain. You're safe now. In that moment, fear loses power. You can think clearer, speak smoother, and express yourself more naturally. That's why sometimes, after sleeping well or taking a walk, your English sounds better even though you didn't study more. Because your mind is calm. And a calm mind is a fluent mind. I remember one of my online students, Kenji from Japan. He practiced English presentations every night. He memorized every sentence, every pause, every gesture. But when he stood in front of people, his voice shook. His hands trembled. His brain went blank. After the class, he told me, I don't understand, teacher. I practiced so hard. So I asked Kenji, how did you sleep last night? He laughed nervously. Maybe 3 hours? I said, that's the problem. Your body didn't rest, so your mind couldn't perform. The next week, I told him to sleep early for 2 nights before his next presentation. And when he did, something amazing happened. His voice became stronger, his face relaxed, and he spoke naturally. Afterward, he said, I didn't even look at my notes. The words just came out. That's the power of rest. It turns pressure into flow. Sometimes, when you're studying English, you feel stuck. You can't find the right word. You listen, but you don't understand. You try to speak, but your tongue doesn't cooperate. It's easy to think, maybe I'm not good at this. But that's not true. Your brain just needs a break. When you rest, your mind organizes the chaos. It says, okay, let's put these sounds here, these words there, these memories together. Then, suddenly, everything starts to make sense again. It's not magic. It's rest. And here's something most people don't realize. Rest is a form of confidence training. When you rest, you teach your brain that it's okay to pause. You show yourself that silence is not failure. You learn that you don't have to rush to prove your worth. This is very important for speaking English. Because fluency is not about speed, it's about rhythm. And rhythm needs space. Even in music, the beauty comes from pauses. So next time you speak English, try this. Pause. Breathe. Smile. Let the silence between your words feel natural. That's rest inside your speaking. When you give yourself permission to pause, your listener also feels calm. They understand you better. They feel your words more deeply. That's how rest transforms not just your learning, but your communication. You see, rest doesn't only make you smarter. It makes you softer. It brings warmth back to your voice. It makes your English sound more human. Because people don't remember perfect grammar. They remember how you made them feel. And you can only make others feel something when you, yourself, are present and peaceful. So if you ever feel lost in your English journey, here's a gentle reminder. Don't just study harder. Rest deeper. Because every time you rest, your brain, your heart, and your voice all grow stronger together. It's strange, isn't it? Rest is supposed to make us feel better, yet sometimes it makes us feel guilty. You lie down for a few minutes, and your mind starts whispering, you should be working. You're wasting time. You don't deserve a break yet. It's like a voice inside us doesn't want peace. It wants motion, results, achievement, all the time. Where does that voice come from? Maybe from school, where we were told that stopping means failure. Maybe from our jobs, where busyness is seen as success. Maybe from society, where rest is called laziness. But here's the truth. Resting is not lazy. Resting is human. We were never built to move endlessly. Even nature rests, the sun sets, the tide pulls back, the trees stand still in winter. Everything that grows also rests. So why do we believe that we shouldn't? I remember a young woman I coached once. Her name was Sophia. She was ambitious, hardworking, always pushing herself. One day, during class, she sighed and said, "Teacher, I can't relax. Every time I try to rest, I feel bad about it." I asked her, "Why do you feel bad?" She said, "Because I think of everything I still haven't done. My goals, my to-do list. I feel like resting means giving up." So I asked her a question she didn't expect. "When you rest your phone, do you feel guilty?" She laughed, "Of course not." "Then why do you feel guilty when you rest your mind?" She looked at me quietly. That was the moment she realized she treated her phone better than herself. And don't we all sometimes? We recharge our devices without thinking. But we forget to recharge our souls. This guilt of rest comes from fear of being behind. We look at others working, studying, posting, achieving, and we panic. We think, if I stop, I'll fall behind. But let me tell you something important. There is no race. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply on your own timeline. Life isn't about who runs the fastest. It's about who walks with balance. When you rush too much, you lose joy. When you rest too little, you lose clarity. And when you lose both joy and clarity, you lose yourself. So rest isn't just about the body. It's about returning home to who you really are. But how do we overcome that guilt? How do we rest without feeling like we're wasting time? It starts with one simple truth. You are allowed to rest. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove it. You simply deserve it because you're human. When you start believing that rest is part of your growth, guilt begins to fade. Let's do a small reflection together. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Now think of the last time you allowed yourself to stop completely, no distractions, no phone, no noise. How did it feel? Peaceful? Boring? Uncomfortable? That discomfort, that need to move, scroll, or talk, that's not laziness. That's fear leaving your body. Because rest feels strange at first. We've forgotten what stillness feels like. But the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Rest isn't something you force. It's something you remember. There's a beautiful story from an African tribe about rest. When a traveler moves too fast through the forest, the elders say, he needs to stop and let his soul catch up. That's what rest really is, waiting for your soul to catch up with your body. Sometimes, your body moves faster than your emotions. You work, you rush, you decide, you act, but inside, your soul is still trying to process everything. Rest gives it the time to do so. When you rest, your mind and soul meet again. They look at each other and say, okay, we're together now. Let's continue. Now, maybe you're thinking, but if I rest too much, won't I become lazy? No. There's a difference between resting and escaping. Resting means stopping so you can return stronger. Escaping means avoiding because you don't want to face something. The difference is purpose. Rest with purpose brings renewal. Escape without purpose brings emptiness. So if you rest, rest with intention. Say to yourself, I'm resting now to take care of my mind. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Here's something I often tell my students: you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you give your energy to everything, work, study, family, and leave nothing for yourself, eventually, you'll have nothing left to give. Rest is how you refill your cup. It's how you keep giving love, patience, and focus without losing yourself. When you rest, you become kinder. You listen better. You understand more deeply. You speak more gently. Because you're not running on survival anymore, you're living from peace. Think of nature again. A seed doesn't grow in one day. It rests in the soil, hidden, silent, and yet something powerful is happening underneath. Roots are forming. Life is preparing. That's how rest works. You may not see progress, but it's happening quietly inside you. So the next time you feel guilty for resting, remember this. Even when you're still, you're growing. Let me tell you about another friend, Rahul. He was a young man who always compared himself to others. His friends were getting new jobs, traveling, buying cars. And he was tired. So tired that even happiness felt heavy. One night, he called me and said, I can't keep up. Everyone's moving faster than me. I asked him, what would happen if you stopped trying to keep up? He said, then I'd fall behind. I said, or maybe you'd finally catch up with yourself. That silence on the phone was powerful. He didn't speak for a while. Then he said softly, maybe you're right. Rahul took a week off. He stayed home, read books, cooked his meals, and went for walks. No phone, no comparison, no race. After a few days, he sent me a message. I feel alive again. Not successful. Not ahead. Just alive. And that was everything. Rest is not about doing nothing. It's about doing something important, taking care of your soul. So the next time guilt visits you while you rest, smile at it. Say, thank you for worrying about me, but I'm safe now. I'm allowed to rest. And then breathe. Because guilt only loses power when you stop fighting it. When you choose peace instead of pressure. Now imagine this. You wake up one morning and decide to slow down. You drink your tea slowly. You take a quiet walk. You speak softly. You smile without reason. The world doesn't end. Your goals don't disappear. But something inside you shifts. You begin to feel present. And in that presence, you discover something magical. You don't need to run to feel successful. You don't need to rush to feel worthy. You only need to rest enough to remember who you are. Rest doesn't always mean sleep. It doesn't always mean taking a day off or escaping to the mountains. Real rest is something you build into your daily life. It's not about stopping everything. It's about slowing down enough to feel what you're doing. Let's be honest, most of us live like machines. We wake up, check our phone, rush to work, scroll, eat fast, talk fast, think fast, sleep late, and call that living. But deep inside, we're tired. Not just physically, but emotionally. We crave stillness, but we don't know how to find it. So today, let's talk about small, simple ways to rest, no matter where you are, no matter how busy your life is. 1. The morning pause. The first few minutes after you wake up are powerful. Most people open their phones immediately, checking messages, emails, or news. But what if you didn't? What if, for just 2 minutes, you sat quietly and breathed? Close your eyes and whisper to yourself, today, I will move with peace. You see, the way you start your morning sets the tone for your whole day. When you begin with stillness, everything that follows feels lighter. Even a short, quiet morning can give your mind the kind of rest no weekend can replace. It's not about the length of time, it's about the quality of peace. Try it tomorrow. Before the world wakes up, give yourself those few moments. You'll notice how much more calm and focused you feel all day. 2. The 5-minute break rule. During the day, your brain gets tired from too much focus, even if you don't notice it. That's why you sometimes lose concentration, forget things, or start scrolling mindlessly. So, every 25 to 30 minutes, give yourself a 5-minute break. Stand up. Stretch. Drink water. Look outside. Don't open social media. That's not rest, that's stimulation. Let your eyes rest. Let your mind breathe. Even short breaks can reset your energy completely. Remember, you don't need a vacation to rest. You just need a few intentional pauses. 3. The power of deep breathing. Here's a secret. Your breath is the shortest way to rest. Because when you control your breath, you control your mind. Try this simple exercise right now. Breathe in slowly for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 2 seconds. Then exhale slowly for 6 seconds. As you breathe out, imagine all your stress leaving your body. Do this 3 times. You'll feel your shoulders relax, your heartbeat slow down, your thoughts calm. You see, your breath is your anchor. It brings you back to the present moment. And every time you come back to the present, you rest a little more. 4. The one thing at a time habit. Most of us are proud of multitasking. We eat while watching TV, reply to messages while working, listen to something while walking. But multitasking doesn't make us faster, it makes us tired. Your brain is not made to focus on many things at once. It keeps switching between tasks, and every switch costs energy. So, if you want to rest more during the day, try this. Do one thing at a time. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you listen, just listen. When you give your full attention to one moment, your mind feels peaceful because it's not being pulled in 10 directions. That is mental rest. 5. The evening slowdown. Evenings are supposed to be the time to unwind. But for many people, evenings are the busiest, rushing to finish tasks, replying to messages, watching one video after another. Instead, create a small evening ritual. It can be anything simple: a warm shower, soft music, a short walk, journaling, or lighting a candle. Tell yourself, the day is ending. It's okay to stop. When you slow down before sleep, your brain receives the message that it's safe to relax. That's when real rest begins before you even close your eyes. You'll notice that you sleep deeper and wake up fresher, not because you slept longer, but because your mind trusted it could rest. 6. Rest through gratitude. Here's something people often forget. Gratitude is also rest. Because gratitude brings peace to the heart. Every night before sleeping, whisper 3 small things you're thankful for. It could be simple. I'm thankful for my dinner. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for learning something today. This habit trains your mind to see goodness instead of worry. And when you sleep with gratitude, your body rests with happiness, not stress. 7. The digital sunset. Do you know what keeps most people tired even after a full night's sleep? Screens. Our phones, computers, and TVs fill our minds with constant light and noise. So even when our body rests, our mind keeps running. Try this simple rule. 1 hour before bed, no screens. Turn off your phone. Leave it in another room if possible. Read a real book. Stretch. Meditate. Or just sit quietly. That 1 hour of silence before sleep is more powerful than 3 hours of extra scrolling. Because silence heals the nervous system. Let your mind taste quiet again. 8. Rest in nature. Whenever you can, spend a few minutes outside. Look at the sky. Feel the wind. Listen to birds or even city sounds. Nature reminds us that life doesn't rush. The river doesn't hurry, but it still reaches the ocean. The trees don't compete, yet they grow tall. When you're in nature, you naturally slow down, your heart rate softens, your breathing deepens, your thoughts become simpler. That's real rest. Even 5 minutes outside can change how you feel inside. 9. Rest through kindness. This one might surprise you. Kindness can also be rest. Because anger, comparison, and judgment take energy. But kindness relaxes your mind. When you forgive, help, or smile at someone, your heart feels light. So, if your soul feels heavy, try being kind. It's like giving your spirit a soft pillow. You rest by letting go of what hurts. 10. Rest through English practice itself. Yes, even learning English can be restful if you do it gently. Don't always study with pressure. Sometimes, just listen to a soft English story, a song, a voice that feels calm. Let English enter your ears like music, not like homework. That's how you connect with it emotionally. And emotional connection is the deepest form of learning. So remember, rest doesn't mean stopping your English practice. It means changing how you practice. Peaceful listening is also learning. When you add these small habits into your life, you begin to notice something beautiful. You don't feel exhausted all the time anymore. You don't need to escape life to rest. Your life itself becomes restful. You start walking slower, breathing deeper, thinking clearer. And you realize peace isn't somewhere else. It's here, inside you. You just have to make space for it. Let me share a small truth I've learned over the years. When you choose rest daily, you choose presence. You start hearing your own thoughts again. You start noticing what really matters. And slowly, without even trying, you become more focused, more creative, more alive. That's the quiet magic of daily rest. I once heard a quote that said, "Burnout doesn't happen when you're too busy. It happens when you forget why you're doing what you do." At first, I didn't understand it. But after years of watching people, students, workers, parents, I began to see how true it was. Burnout isn't just about being tired. It's about being disconnected. Disconnected from your body. Disconnected from your purpose. Disconnected from yourself. When you stop resting, you slowly stop feeling. It usually starts small. You skip one night of sleep. You say, "I'll rest later." Then you skip breakfast, rush through your day, and tell yourself, "I'm fine. I can handle this." And you probably can for a while. But soon, something changes. You wake up tired even after sleeping. You start forgetting simple things. Your patience disappears. You snap at people you care about. You feel heavy, not just in your body, but in your heart. That's burnout whispering to you. At first, it's quiet, like a soft voice saying, "Slow down." But if you don't listen, it gets louder. The hidden signs of burnout. Burnout doesn't always look dramatic. It's not always tears or breakdowns. Sometimes it looks like this. You sit in front of your work but can't focus. You scroll endlessly but don't feel joy. You meet friends but can't truly laugh. You hear good news but feel nothing. It's like your emotions are covered by a thick fog. You're there, but not there. And inside, you whisper, "I just need a long break." But even when you get one, you still feel empty. That's when you know it's not your schedule that's exhausted. It's your spirit. The cost of ignoring rest. When you push too hard for too long, your body starts to protect itself. It begins to shut down certain feelings to save energy. You may lose motivation. You may stop caring about things you used to love. You may start doubting yourself for no reason. And your body joins in: headaches, back pain, stomach problems, anxiety, even illness. Because your body and mind are deeply connected. When one suffers, the other follows. Think of your body like a car engine. If you keep driving without oil, it doesn't stop suddenly, it just gets louder, hotter, weaker. Until one day, it breaks. The same happens to people. We don't collapse suddenly. We fade slowly. And the scariest part? We call that normal. The emotional silence of burnout. You see, burnout is not only about exhaustion. It's about silence, an emotional silence inside you. When you're burnt out, you stop hearing your inner voice. You stop dreaming. You stop imagining. You just exist. You move through days like a shadow of yourself. You keep doing things because you have to, not because you want to. And every day feels the same. You wake up, work, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. Even happiness feels like a memory, something that belonged to a different version of you. That's what burnout does. It steals your joy, little by little, until you forget how it felt to be light, curious, or alive. The moment of realization. But here's something powerful. Most people realize they're burnt out only when something stops them. It might be a sickness. It might be a breakdown. It might be a moment when they look in the mirror and don't recognize themselves. They see tired eyes, a fake smile, a body that's running on empty. And then, for the first time, they whisper, "I can't do this anymore." That whisper is not weakness. That whisper is awakening. Because only when you finally stop pretending to be okay, you start becoming real again. Why we feel guilty for resting. One of the saddest things about burnout is this. Even when we get a chance to rest, we feel guilty. We lie down, but our mind says, "You're wasting time. You're being lazy. Others are working harder than you." We forget that rest is also work. It's the work of healing, restoring, recharging. You can't pour from an empty cup, and rest is how you refill it. But society rarely celebrates rest. We celebrate productivity, busyness, success. We praise people for working all night, not for resting well. So we keep running, not because we want to, but because we're afraid to stop. But if you never stop, your body will stop for you. That's the truth about burnout. The turning point. Listening to your body. Here's something to remember. Your body always tells the truth. When your stomach feels heavy every morning before work, when your head aches for no reason, when your smile feels forced, that's your body speaking. It's saying, "Please, take care of me." And when you finally start listening, when you give yourself permission to pause, something beautiful begins healing. Your body doesn't need a perfect plan. It just needs kindness, gentle food, gentle movement, gentle thoughts. Because the body doesn't recover through punishment, it recovers through love. The power of small pauses. People often think they need big changes to heal burnout. But sometimes, all you need are small pauses, a walk outside, a quiet breakfast, a phone turned off for 1 hour. These little things seem small, but they tell your body, "I'm safe. I'm allowed to rest." And the body listens. Slowly, your energy returns. You begin to smile again, not because something big happened, but because you feel human again. How burnout changes perspective. After burnout, people often see life differently. They stop chasing perfection. They stop trying to do everything at once. They learn the beauty of saying no. They realize that peace is not found in doing more, it's found in doing what matters. They start valuing sleep, sunlight, laughter, connection. Things that cost nothing but mean everything. Burnout, as painful as it is, can become your greatest teacher. Because it teaches you to listen to your limits, to your needs, to your heart. And when you listen, you heal. So, my friend, if you're listening to this right now and you feel tired, truly tired, please know this. You don't have to earn your rest. You already deserve it. Take that nap. Take that walk. Say no to one more task. You are not falling behind. You are simply remembering who you are. Because when you rest, you return to yourself. When you've been running for too long, stopping can feel strange. You want to rest, but your mind keeps running even when your body doesn't move. That's what burnout does. It doesn't only live in your body, it lives in your thoughts. So how do you heal from that? How do you bring peace back into your life after being exhausted for so long? It starts small. It starts slow. It starts with you. Let's take this step by step. Step 1. Admit you're tired. This is the hardest part for many people, simply saying, "I'm tired." We often hide our exhaustion behind smiles or busy schedules. We keep going because we think stopping means failing. But healing begins when you tell yourself the truth. Because honesty opens the door to change. So, sit quietly for a moment and whisper it out loud. "I'm tired. I need rest." Don't fight it. Don't explain it. Don't justify it. Just say it. Because when you name your exhaustion, you take away its power. It's okay to be tired. It just means you've been strong for too long. Step 2. Give yourself permission to rest. This may sound simple, but many people don't allow themselves to rest. They think they must earn it after finishing work, helping everyone, or solving every problem. But rest isn't something you earn. It's something you need. You don't wait to drink water until you finish your day. You drink because your body needs it. Rest is the same. So, tell yourself, it's okay to pause. It's okay to do nothing. Let your rest be guilt-free. Because the moment you stop feeling guilty for resting, your body truly begins to heal. Step 3. Slow everything down. Burnout often comes from rushing to finish, to achieve, to please, to catch up. But healing happens in slowness. So, slow down everything you can. Walk slower. Eat slower. Talk slower. Breathe slower. Let your world move at a softer speed. When you slow down, you start noticing small things again. The color of the sky, the taste of food, the rhythm of your own heartbeat. That's your soul returning home. You begin to feel alive again, one slow breath at a time. Step 4. Reconnect with your body. During burnout, many people live from the neck up. They're trapped in thoughts, deadlines, worries. They forget they even have a body until it hurts. So, healing means reconnecting with it. Stretch gently in the morning. Go for a short walk. Take a warm shower and feel the water on your skin. Say to your body, "Thank you for staying with me, even when I ignored you." Your body is not your enemy, it's your oldest friend. It's been carrying you through every storm. It deserves your care. Move with kindness, not pressure. Let every small movement be an act of love. Step 5. Learn the language of rest. There are many kinds of rest, and your body needs them all. It's not just about sleep. There's physical rest, sleep, naps, stillness. There's mental rest, silence, meditation, breathing. There's emotional rest, crying, forgiving, talking, letting go. There's social rest, taking space from people who drain you. There's creative rest, doing things that fill your imagination again. So ask yourself, what kind of rest do I need today? Maybe you don't need a nap. Maybe you just need a hug. Maybe you don't need a break from work. Maybe you need a break from pretending. When you understand you're kind of tired, you'll know you're kind of rest. Step 6. Feed your soul gently. Burnout leaves your soul hungry for inspiration, beauty, and meaning. So, start feeding it again. Listen to calming music. Read something that makes you smile. Spend time in nature. Watch the sunset. Talk to someone who understands silence. Do small things that remind you the world is still beautiful. You see, healing is not only about sleeping more. It's about feeling alive again. And to feel alive, you must fill your heart with things that make you peaceful. Step 7. Redefine productivity. When you've been burnt out, the idea of productivity can feel heavy. Because you've been measuring your worth by how much you do. But healing means changing that definition. Being productive doesn't always mean being busy. Sometimes being productive means sitting quietly and thinking. Sometimes it means taking a walk to clear your mind. Sometimes it means doing less so you can do the important things better. Your value doesn't come from your output. It comes from your being. You are not a machine. You are a living, breathing person, and rest is part of your productivity. Step 8. Speak kindly to yourself. During burnout, your inner voice often turns cruel. It says things like, "You're lazy. You're not good enough. You should try harder." But healing starts when you change that voice. When you start talking to yourself like you would to a tired friend. Say, you're doing your best. It's okay to slow down. You're learning to care for yourself again. Your mind believes what you tell it. So make your words soft, healing, kind. You can't rest while you're fighting yourself. So stop the war. Choose compassion instead. Step 9. Rebuild small joys. After burnout, joy can feel far away, but it always returns in small ways. Start with tiny things. Make your favorite drink. Listen to a song from your childhood. Plant something. Dance alone. Laugh at something silly. Joy doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes quietly, like sunlight through curtains. And every time you smile, even a little, your energy grows back. Joy is the light that helps your soul remember, I'm healing. Step 10. Create new boundaries. The reason most people burn out again is because they go back to the same patterns. They forget to protect their peace. So, this time, build boundaries. Say no to things that exhaust you. Say yes to things that feed you. Take breaks before you break down. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors that you open and close with wisdom. They protect your time, your mind, your energy. And when you respect your limits, people start respecting you too. Boundaries are the bridge between peace and burnout. Step 11. Reconnect with purpose. When you've rested enough, something beautiful happens. Your purpose begins to whisper again. You start remembering why you do what you do. You see meaning again in your work, your relationships, your dreams. But this time, it's quieter, gentler. Less about pressure, more about love. That's how you know you're healing, when purpose returns, but urgency disappears. You no longer run because you fear falling behind. You walk because the journey itself feels right. Step 12. Stay patient with the process. Healing from burnout is not a race. It's not something you finish in a week or a month. It's like growing new roots after a storm. It takes time. Some days, you'll feel calm and strong. Other days, you'll feel tired again, and that's okay. Don't rush it. Don't measure it. Just keep showing up for yourself, one gentle day at a time. Because recovery isn't about going back to who you were. It's about becoming someone wiser, softer, stronger. So if you're walking this path right now, remember, your healing doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be honest. Each slow breath, each quiet night, each moment of kindness, they are all medicine. You are not broken. You're simply rediscovering balance. And every step toward peace counts. Most people see rest as something passive, like doing nothing. But true rest isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing something powerful. You're recharging your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Rest is not weakness. Rest is strength quietly rebuilding itself. When you rest, you're not quitting. You're preparing to rise again. Think of nature for a moment. A river doesn't flow with the same force every second. Sometimes it moves fast, sometimes slow. But it never stops moving completely, it just changes its rhythm. That's how you should live too. There are moments for speed and moments for stillness. Moments for action and moments for quiet. Balance doesn't mean doing everything. It means doing what matters when it matters. And rest is the rhythm that keeps your life in balance. 1. Rest creates focus. Have you ever noticed that when you're tired, even small things feel hard? You reread the same sentence again and again. You forget what someone said. You feel irritated for no reason. That's because your brain is overloaded. But when you rest, even for a short time, something magical happens. Your brain clears the noise. Your thoughts become sharper. Your memory improves. Your decisions get better. That's why many great thinkers, artists, and leaders schedule time for rest. They know rest is not lost time, it's creative time. Because the best ideas don't come when your mind is full. They come when your mind is calm. So, the next time you feel stuck, don't push harder. Pause. Take a walk. Breathe. Let silence do the thinking for you. 2. Rest strengthens confidence. When you're constantly tired, you start doubting yourself. You begin to think, I can't do this, not because you're weak, but because your energy is gone. Rest gives you the power to believe again. It gives your mind the space to remember your abilities. When you wake up fresh, you see problems differently. What looked impossible yesterday feels manageable today. Confidence isn't only built by working harder, it's built by recovering smarter. Rest is like recharging your self-belief. It whispers, you can do this, just not all at once. 3. Rest restores creativity. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas come when you're not trying? Maybe when you're showering, walking, or lying in bed. That's because creativity lives in quiet moments. When you stop forcing your brain, it starts imagining freely again. If you're a student, a teacher, a worker, or an artist, remember this. The pause between actions is where creativity breathes. So don't fear silence. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers waiting to be heard. Give your mind the gift of rest, and it will give you brilliance in return. 4. Rest makes you kinder. It's hard to be kind when you're exhausted. When you're tired, you become impatient, easily irritated, or cold, not because you don't care, but because you're drained. But when you rest, your heart softens again. You listen better. You speak gentler. You understand more. Rest turns frustration into compassion. Because when you feel calm inside, you naturally share that calm with others. So, if you want to be kinder to yourself and others, rest first. A peaceful person spreads peace without even trying. 5. Rest improves relationships. Think about this. When you're tired, you don't want to talk. When you're stressed, you miscommunicate. When you're burned out, you isolate yourself. But when you're rested, you connect deeply. You laugh more easily. You listen with attention. You express love more openly. Rest doesn't only recharge your body, it reopens your heart. So if you want to fix your relationships, start by fixing your energy. The most loving thing you can give someone is your presence, and presence only happens when your mind is at rest. 6. Rest helps you learn better. As an English learner, you might think, I must study every day. I can't stop or I'll forget. But here's a secret. Your brain learns while you rest. When you sleep or relax, your brain organizes the information you learned earlier. It moves it from short-term memory to long-term memory. That's why sometimes, after a good night's sleep, you suddenly understand something that confused you before. So remember, studying harder isn't always studying smarter. You need both effort and recovery. Learning English is like breathing. Study is the inhale. Rest is the exhale. Both are necessary. 7. Rest builds emotional strength. When life feels too heavy, rest helps you carry it. You might not be able to change the situation right away, but rest gives you the strength to face it calmly. When you take a step back, emotions settle. You see things more clearly. You respond with wisdom, not reaction. Rest is not escaping reality. It's preparing your heart to handle reality with courage. That's emotional strength, quiet but powerful. 8. Rest creates balance between doing and being. We live in a world that worships doing. We're told to work harder, move faster, achieve more. But we forget the other half of life, being. Being means existing fully in the moment. Not rushing. Not proving. Just being. When you learn to rest, you learn to be. You realize that your value isn't in your performance. It's in your presence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to be still. Because stillness lets your soul speak again. 9. Rest connects you to gratitude. When you slow down, you start noticing things you usually miss: the sound of rain, the smell of tea, the softness of your bed, the laughter of someone you love. And suddenly, you feel grateful. Gratitude is one of the purest forms of rest. Because when you're thankful, your heart relaxes. You stop chasing more and start appreciating what already is. A grateful heart doesn't feel rushed. It feels rich. So, the next time you rest, don't just close your eyes, open your heart. 10. Rest makes life beautiful again. When you live rested, you see the world differently. Colors look brighter. Voices sound kinder. Food tastes better. Music feels deeper. You start finding joy in small things, and that joy gives you energy to live fully. Rest doesn't just give you back your strength. It gives you back your wonder. And when you live with wonder, everything, even the simple moments, feels meaningful again. So remember this, my friend, rest isn't a luxury. It's a responsibility. It's how you take care of the life that's been given to you. When you choose to rest, you're not being lazy. You're being wise. You're saying, my peace matters. My health matters. My joy matters. Because in the end, rest doesn't take time away from your life, it gives your life back to you. When people talk about rest, they often imagine vacations, weekends, or sleep. But rest is more than a break. It's a way of living. You can live restfully even while working hard. You can be calm even while the world around you is noisy. Because rest isn't only something that happens in your body, it's something that begins in your mind. Restful living means carrying peace with you wherever you go. Every day begins twice, once when you wake up and again when you choose how to feel. Many people open their eyes and immediately grab their phones. They scroll, check messages, read news, and fill their minds with noise before they even stand up. And then they wonder why they feel tired all day. But what if you started differently? What if, for just 5 minutes, you stayed still and breathed? What if you began your day not with noise, but with silence? Try this. When you wake up, sit quietly. Place your hand on your heart and say to yourself, today I choose calm. Feel your breath. Feel your body. Notice that you are alive. That's rest right there, before the day even begins. When your morning starts with calm, your mind moves slower, clearer, gentler. You don't rush into the day, you walk into it. 2. The art of mini breaks. You don't need an hour to rest. Sometimes, you only need a minute. Imagine your day like a song. Without small pauses, the music becomes noise. That's what mini breaks are, little pauses that bring rhythm back to your life. Between meetings, close your eyes for 30 seconds. Between classes, stretch your arms and breathe. While waiting for something, don't scroll, just be. These small moments may look simple, but they're powerful. They tell your nervous system, you're safe. You can relax. Your body listens. Your heart slows down. Your thoughts soften. Even 1 minute of rest can change your whole hour. Try it now. Take a deep breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. That's how peace begins, one mindful breath at a time. 3. Creating boundaries with kindness. One reason we feel exhausted is because we don't protect our time. We say yes to everything, to everyone, until nothing is left for ourselves. But you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give your best if you're always running on low energy. That's why boundaries are an act of kindness, not selfishness. You can say, I'd love to help, but I need rest right now, or I can't join today, but maybe another time. The world won't fall apart if you take care of yourself first. When you say no with love, you're saying yes to your health, your peace, and your life. Remember, rest is not something others must allow you to have, it's something you choose to protect. 4. The power of quiet evenings. Evenings are special. They're the bridge between effort and peace. The day is ending, but your mind may still be racing. That's why how you spend your evening matters. You can spend it scrolling through social media until your brain burns out. Or you can spend it unwinding, letting the day gently fade away. Try this. When the sun sets, dim the lights. Put your phone away for a while. Listen to soft music or read something calming. Reflect. What went well today? What can I let go of? You don't need a perfect evening routine, you just need a peaceful one. End your day with gratitude, not stress. That's how rest grows inside you. 5. Sleep as sacred time. Sleep is not just rest. It's healing. When you sleep, your body repairs, your brain resets, your emotions rebalance. But many people treat sleep like an obstacle, something that interrupts their work or entertainment. They stay awake late, telling themselves, just one more video, just one more task. But every extra hour you take from your sleep, you steal from your tomorrow. Treat sleep like sacred time. Prepare for it with care. Turn off bright screens. Keep your room dark and cool. Let your mind slow down before bed. And when you lie down, say gently, "Thank you, day. I did my best. Now I rest." You'll wake up not only refreshed, but reborn. 6. Mindful work. Working without burning out. Working restfully doesn't mean working less, it means working wisely. When you work, focus only on what's in front of you. No multitasking. No endless switching between screens. One task. One breath. One moment. Give your full attention, then give yourself small pauses. When you focus deeply, then rest gently, you create balance. And balance is what makes work sustainable. It's not about speed. It's about rhythm. Because a calm worker is a powerful worker. 7. Digital rest, protecting your mind from noise. In today's world, one of the biggest forms of rest isn't physical, it's digital. We are always connected to screens, notifications, and endless information. But your brain was never designed to process so much noise. That's why you sometimes feel tired even if you've done nothing. It's not your body, it's your mind that's exhausted. Try having small offline times each day. No phone, no TV, no internet. Just you and silence. At first, it feels strange. But soon, it feels peaceful. Silence is the most natural sound in the world, and it's the one we've forgotten how to listen to. Bring it back. Let silence become your daily friend. 8. Rest through gratitude and presence. Living restfully isn't about avoiding life. It's about being present in it. When you eat, taste the food. When you talk, listen fully. When you walk, feel your feet on the ground. Presence is rest in motion. And gratitude turns ordinary moments into gentle joy. If you start noticing small blessings, the softness of morning light, the laughter of a friend, the smell of rain, you'll find that peace is never far away. Restful living begins when you stop rushing through the beauty that's already here. 9. Accepting imperfection. One reason we can't rest is that we keep chasing perfection. We want perfect results, perfect days, perfect lives. But perfection is pressure, not peace. Rest comes when you allow yourself to be human, to make mistakes, to try again, to grow slowly. When you stop demanding perfection, you start discovering freedom. And that freedom is the deepest kind of rest. 10. Living restfully, a way of being. Living restfully doesn't mean you stop dreaming. It means you dream without destroying yourself. It doesn't mean you do nothing. It means you do everything with calm energy. You wake up gently. You work mindfully. You pause gratefully. You sleep peacefully. And you realize rest was never something to find. It was always something to create. So wherever you go, take your calm with you. Let your life be like a quiet song, sometimes loud, sometimes soft, but always in tune with peace. Because when you live restfully, you don't just rest better, you live better. There's a story I once heard about a man who was cutting down trees in the forest. He worked all day, every day, without stopping. His hands were rough, his back was bent, and his face was covered in sweat. Another man passed by and asked, "Why don't you take a break and sharpen your axe?" The woodcutter answered, "I don't have time to rest. I'm too busy cutting trees." But every day, the trees became harder to cut. His arms grew weaker. His axe grew duller. And soon, Even though he worked harder, he achieved less. Do you know what that story teaches us? That sometimes rest is the work. Because when you rest, you sharpen your axe. You sharpen your focus, your energy, your joy. And that's how you move forward faster, not by rushing, but by renewing. 1. Rest is an act of love. When you rest, you are telling yourself, I deserve care. I deserve peace. I am enough even when I'm not busy. Many people think rest is something to earn. They say, I'll rest when I finish everything. But life doesn't work like that. Because there will always be one more thing to do. One more message. One more task. One more goal. If you wait for life to slow down, it never will. You have to choose to slow down yourself. And that choice, that simple pause, is one of the kindest things you can ever do for your mind. Rest is self-respect in action. It's how you tell yourself, I matter too. 2. Rest teaches you to listen again. When you rest, something quiet happens inside. The noise fades. And you start hearing your own voice again. Not the voice of pressure. Not the voice of fear. But the small, gentle voice that says, this is who I am. This is what I truly need. Sometimes, the reason we feel lost isn't because we don't know what to do. It's because we haven't been quiet long enough to listen. Rest gives you back your inner voice. It gives you back clarity. And when you live with clarity, every step feels lighter, every choice feels truer. 3. Rest helps you grow, not stop. People often confuse rest with stopping. But rest doesn't stop growth, it fuels it. Think of a tree. During winter, it looks quiet, still, almost lifeless. But deep inside, it's gathering strength. It's preparing for spring. That's what rest does for you. Even when you look still, your soul is growing quietly beneath the surface. You are not wasting time, you're becoming ready. So, when you feel tired or lost, don't panic. Maybe you're just in your winter. And spring will come soon, stronger than ever. 4. Rest reminds you that you are human. You are not a machine. You are not built to run endlessly. You are human, a heart that feels, a body that needs care, a mind that needs peace. And that's beautiful. Because being human means you are alive, sensitive, emotional, growing. You don't need to apologize for needing rest. You don't need to feel guilty for being tired. Fatigue is not failure. It's your body's way of saying, I need your kindness. So, the next time you feel exhausted, don't fight it. Honor it. Rest is how your body thanks you for everything you've done. 5. Rest gives meaning to effort. Imagine running a race that never ends. No finish line, no pause, no celebration. Wouldn't it feel empty? That's how life feels without rest. Rest gives your effort meaning. It gives your work purpose. Because only when you stop can you see how far you've come. Rest allows reflection. And reflection turns experience into wisdom. So, rest is not separate from effort, it completes it. It's the final note in the song of your day. Without it, everything just becomes noise. 6. Rest and gratitude walk together. When you rest, your mind slows down enough to notice small miracles again. The warmth of sunlight, the taste of water, the laughter of someone near you. Gratitude and rest are close friends. One makes the other deeper. When you are thankful, your heart relaxes. When you relax, you see more things to be thankful for. That's the quiet circle of peace. And it begins with one pause, one breath, one moment of rest. 7. Rest gives you back your joy. Tiredness steals joy quietly. You stop laughing. You stop feeling excited. Everything becomes something to finish. But when you rest, truly rest, you start to smile again. You notice beauty again. You find small reasons to feel happy. You start to enjoy your life instead of just surviving it. And that's the real power of rest. It doesn't just heal your body. It gives your soul back its light. 8. Rest as a language of peace. Peace has its own language, soft, slow, simple. And rest is how that language is spoken. When you rest, you're teaching your body the grammar of calm. Breathe slowly, think gently, move wisely, love deeply. You begin to understand that peace is not somewhere else, it's inside you. Every quiet moment, every deep breath, every early night is a way of saying, I am learning to live peacefully. Rest turns that idea into a habit, and that habit into a way of life. 9. Rest connects you to life again. Sometimes, when you stop, you start to see. You notice how the light moves through your window. You hear how the world breathes when you do nothing. You remember that life is not something to rush through, it's something to experience slowly. When you rest, you reconnect to nature, to people, to yourself. You remember that you are part of something bigger, something gentle, something alive. That realization, that quiet connection is the heart of rest. 10. The final whisper. So now, my friend, as this journey ends, I want you to remember something simple. Rest is not the opposite of success. Rest is the foundation of it. Rest doesn't stop your dreams. It keeps them alive. Rest isn't something you need to earn. It's something you deserve. And the next time you feel tired, truly tired, don't just push through it. Listen to it. Honor it. Rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. Take a breath now. A slow one. Inhale and exhale. That's it. That's rest already within you. You don't need to go anywhere to find it. You just need to return to yourself. Because you are the calm. You are the peace. You are the power of rest. Thank you for listening to Mr. English Lab. Remember, learning English isn't just about words. It's about learning to slow down, to feel the language, and to live it calmly. So, take care of your body. Take care of your mind. And most of all, take time to rest. Because the world needs you, but it needs the rested, peaceful, joyful you.